Right, that was a big-time game. Hats off to Florida. They got winning DNA. They're tough. They made a great run. You know they're going to make a run at some time. I think you go back to, our defense in the first half I thought was terrific. So second half we didn't quite come out the way that you need to in a game like that. I thought our guys just battled. I'm really proud of them. It's a great win. I think I can help them way more. I think there's things for us we're still figuring out with our group. But end of the day, they're competitors, and you got to find a way to make key stops in those moments. So the offense will figure out, it'll come. They're good defensively too, and it was just kind of that type of game. And so to be able to win, a game where you don't score as much both ways, it's more a grinded out type of game. Hopefully, we can score better in some other games, but you got to win that way sometimes. And I thought our guys made big time winning plays. Isaiah, just to hang tough, and that's, to make that shot, in that moment, the execution. Cam made a great pass. I thought was big, and just for him, we just kept telling him focus on the defense. And he ends up with 5 blocks, and you just trust at some time he's going to hit. Cam the whole game, just a warrior, and then obviously even at the end, Malik, he tips it. There's a lot to learn, a lot to grow from. Really proud. And I do want to say, and then I'll shut up and let you guys ask any questions. The crowd was incredible. Incredible. I thought our players felt the energy the whole night. I come in the office 2 days ago and people are sleeping outside. They're camping out. Just an incredible energy, and I thought it made a huge difference tonight. Even when we weren't playing our best, crowd hung in, stuck with us, and that was a special Cameron moment tonight.
To expand a little bit on Isaiah, how difficult is it to get a guy that maybe is known for offense and the shot's not falling to kind of stay in the fight and contribute in other ways and then still make a shot like that? Like, is that a sign of maturity or growth? Is that something you felt like he had been doing a better job of mentally to the next play?
For sure, and I think for Isaiah too, it's different from a scouting report perspective, right? I mean, they're trying to do whatever they can. They did a good job hanging tough with him, trying to make life difficult, and so it's not always going to be your shot making. I thought in the second half what he did, game downhill, some of the passes, some of the finishes, and then focusing on the defense. So when they're playing him that way, that opens up the floor for everybody else. And I thought it showed great growth, really good maturity, and we'll continue to figure out ways to help him.
John, Frank, what did you see from Caleb on that final defensive possession, being able to poke it away from Flan? And that's two games in a row where he's come up late down the stretch.
Huge defense. He didn't have a great offensive game, but I thought his defense was big time. Flan, Lee. Clavs those guys, man, are explosive and they're streaky, so they can go off very easily. And the play before where Flan got the 3, we didn't talk well. Like we blew that coverage, and so to have the mental toughness to come back, our talk was great, and Caleb's toughness on the ball was a difference maker, and just to come up with that play.
John, I'm sure their personnel dictates some of it, but I don't know if Malik, Cam, and Pat have played more than 10 possessions all year together.
Right.
What did you like about that pairing, and how much of that is necessitated by what they're putting on the court?
Well, you're trying to get your best competitors in those moments, right? And Malik's competitiveness is right there with anybody. Obviously, Cam, the value he brings to the table. Pat, Pat had a really understated game tonight with what he did. I mean, 11, 5, 5, and 5. We got to get him more touches because he just makes good things happen. And so we've looked at it a little bit and practiced it. There's good moments. There's not some good moments. I think some of our closest games we've closed with a different lineup in each game, and so I'm excited to watch tonight, to learn. I think I got to help these guys better with who's in the game and how we can play. But it really just came down to a rebounding perspective, competitiveness standpoint, and just trying to find a group that could get stops together.
You mentioned Pat's 11, 5, 5, and also Isaiah's 5 blocks. What have you seen from kind of these sophomores and their growth over the past year? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, well, I think what these guys have done, I think you can get so caught up with immediate success all the time, right? And by the way, those guys that had really good moments last year, but I think just their character, their family support of just focusing on how can I get better, how can I take the next step, and then innately they have a belief that they're really good and they're not shying away in these moments. So you trust their character and competitiveness in that regard. But I love the fact that you can be on a multiple year journey still with guys, and Pat and Isaiah obviously are two of the main guys with that.
Good.
Hey, Jon, first time you changed the lineup this year, going to Nick. What was the thought process behind that?
Well, I gotta help Nick and Dame more. Those guys are really good players. They're trying to figure this thing out, and we haven't gotten off to good starts. I want to get Dame. I thought getting him in right away in a different timing could jumpstart him. And then same thing with Nick, just competitively, he's done a really good job. So I thought for both guys, just trying to get them both going. That's really what it came down to. And you're trying to figure out lineups, you're trying to figure out timing of the subbing and all that. Still, we have, we're playing 9 guys, and so there's a little bit of, I want to give them some better continuity, but Dame and Nick, I want to get those guys going. I believe in those guys in a big way, and that's really what's behind it. I got to help them more.
Jon, was the play that Evans took, was that what you drew up on the sideline?
Actually, yes. that's exactly. And you practice end of game situations. We practiced it a lot last year, and for me, this off season, just you're trying to figure out what's the best way of how to get your team in a winning position, and then you got to have. Those guys are the ones that have to execute it. And, Cam, I think you trust his playmaking, right? You trust his scoring. He draws so much attention. And those guys did a great job. We knew what we were going to call. And, again, then Isaiah to step up says a lot about him. And for me, that's as loud as I've heard Cameron. It's one of the loudest moments for sure when he hit that shot, and then to have the toughness to get a stop. Just the execution I'm really proud of.
Jon, after the early season losses last year to Kentucky and Kansas, you made a point to say, we don't design the schedule for us to be perfect. It's to prepare a young team for March.
Right.
Given all the challenges that have been put before this group and that they've won every game so far, just how uncommon is that? I think this is the first 9-0 start since 2018.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about our guys, even in the fact that I don't think we've played like a great 40-minute game yet either, and that's exciting. But at the end of the day, I think it shows there's a mental toughness to this group just to find ways to win. Arkansas was a close game. Obviously, Kansas down the stretch, and tonight, I think it says a lot about the character, a lot about the toughness. And like I said, we're a young team that's going to grow more and more. You always have to learn. That's why we did the schedule, but if we can, let's learn through winning. And you just have to have that humility and understand that winning can make you soft. Winning can make you soft, and I think our guys have done a great job of continuing to figure out how to get better.
Hey, Coach, you guys saw zone a couple times in the second half. Were you expecting that coming in, and how do you think you guys handled it?
Yeah, poor execution, poor on my part. I gotta help them more. I think part of it, after timeouts. Look, we were expecting it after they did the first time. And we are moving too slow, and so it wasn't good. We'll be a lot better with that.
Coach, can you just talk about Isaiah's personality and with his interactions with the crowd? How special is that? How much does it fuel? To what extent do you endorse his showmanship?
Well, Isaiah's got a great spirit, man. He's got a great spirit, and as long as he's getting back on defense, that's the main thing. And we kid about it a little bit, but in all seriousness, I think he's got a great energy and a great spirit I don't want to turn off. I think that's what makes him who he is. And then I think it's just him learning, just valuing certain things in the game. And I thought tonight was growth because the defense, 5 blocks and the sense of urgency and staying locked in to come through with that play says a lot about him. So I don't want to turn that down.
All right, 2 more over here and here.
John, yeah, just for Cam again, you're 9-6. This
Right.
is, I think, his second or third time so far this season he's had that. Obviously, coming off the Arkansas game, does he surprise you at any point at this point, or how do you sort of balance, wanting him to be a scorer, but also obviously a playmaker like he was at the end?
You know, the best thing he does is compete. I mean, that's the best thing by far that he does. I mean, look, Chinyelu is one of the strongest guys we're going to play against or coach against, and I thought Cam got to his spots. I thought he played pretty good defense on him, and we have to adjust to how teams are going to play. Like I know I keep saying it, but I honestly feel I can help him so much more. I feel our team can help him, and I thought he did a great job battling. I thought he hit clutch shots in key moments, and we got to continue to set him up in the right way because his threat to score and his threat to pass is real.
The last one.
Coach, y'all were leading majority of the game before it takes the lead late. Just what were you telling the guys to keep them locked in, keep them focused? And you talk about the poise of your team, but talk about the poise that you saw from them.
You know what? I think that's a really tough thing to be leading for 35 minutes. I think 3 of the minutes were tied, and then they take the lead in that moment. And it's hard to be able to come back and execute and take the lead back. And I thought, we talk about all the time, just normalizing how you can feel through the course of the game. You know, it's very normal when you come out at halftime and you're winning. Well, they're going to have the advantages for them because the sense of urgency needs to be there. You know, so you got to learn how to get the right mindset, right emotion. Same thing in that spot. That play was over. It was all about the execution. It was all about doing our job. And, it was also the last time out. So you're coaching defense too either way. You got to move on quickly. And I thought our guys had great looks, never lost the belief. And we're going to get these other guys going too. You know, that's the thing I keep thinking about tonight. You know, these guys, it's a team, so the certain lineups that we have, I'm excited to go back, watch the film, figure out how to get some of these other guys going and get us ready for a big time game on Saturday.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you guys.